Hello, my friends. Today, I wanted to start exploring and breaking down the power of being obsessed. Being healthily, lovingly, aligned, obsessed. And I want to reflect on my own journey with this. And I've had moments where I've been very destructive when it comes to my obsessive, compulsive, and my capacity to crave and be obsessed. Back in the day, I would just have things that I would get fixated on. I feel I processed through some kind of intent to varying degrees of ADHD, hyper-focused and obsessed on irrelevant things just so irrelevant at the time, which didn't add to my journey, which just actually took lots and lots of time and energy from me. Even back in the day when I was trying to find my way with girls, with women, there was this cravingness which accompanied this obsession quality that I would have going on, which would lead me into areas of destruction, dysfunction, and everything going on. And with everything, there is always a light and dark aspect to anything. We could talk about obsession, we could talk about addiction, and I really feel like I've felt the contrast of obsession when it comes to me progressing and moving forward. And I'm sure if you're on this journey, you'll know what I mean. You will almost this insatiable appetite for information and for things that are going to aid me. And what I was saying previously about many years ago in my, I would say, like less evolved stage, it came with a really destructive quality because my mind would get latched on and fixated on things. I'd obsess. This would be very much going on with my inner thinking and narratives as well. I'd obsess over thought patterns would be going off, especially in a really chaotic, disorganized mind, just everything firing off at once. When my impulses were not in control and I hadn't gained any mastery over those at all. And if I look at this progression of healing and recovery, I've really got into a place now where that mastery has occurred to a fairly strong degree, but it all started to happen as well when I started to really master this capacity to be obsessed. It was as I started to mature and evolve, I started to notice on reflection, I actually started to become really obsessed and furiously wanting to just gather as much information about, say, spirituality, about healing, about how the mind works, about all this information that's out there that's geared to this, say a spiritual awakening. I just remember going through like really varying degrees of intensity of like just feeling like an unquenchable sponge of like just wanting to soak up so much information. And there were times where I would be so obsessed with it and I'd be absorbing so much information that I wasn't applying what I was learning. And I actually spent a few years just what felt to be like a sponge, absorbing loads of information, which were all in the field of somehow helping me move forward. But I tripped and stumbled along the way with the application. And I think that's where we struggle with now in any part of our life, that we have so much information now that we have this application problem. And I feel like we go through these addictions, these obsessions, we go through just absorbing so much information that we actually forget about that application phase. But I also feel that there are times where it may not appear, but it is healthy for us to just absorb loads of information, because on a subconscious level, we're not on the surface, we're absorbing it, but on the subconscious level, the more and more we repeat even the same information, that's really beneficial, because it starts to absorb deeper and deeper into the subconscious mind. And it's in that magical playground which actually births our story and our experience that we're going through right now. And I want to bring our awareness to that it's okay for any of this to be going on. It's okay to be obsessed. It's okay to lose your way. It's okay to be having your mind going off if it feels like it's not in that point where you can almost focus it. But I want us to look at the benefits and feel into the benefits of that obsessive that we have, and how it can really be a benefit to moving us forward. Because once we start obsessively absorbing in all the stuff that's going to actually help us move forward, it's almost like we transition. This is like our ego mind absorbing information, and then our spirit kind of kicks in with the information that which is actually more in line with our journey and how we're going to move forward and progress. When we're in ego mind, that's when shit becomes destructive. That's when we're like, we're totally out of whack. Ego loves our impulses. Ego loves following through on all of that stuff. But then we have this spirit come in, this light come in, which then almost like guides us through this obsessive phase, but almost changes our power of attraction of what we attract in. When our ego mind's in, we attract stuff that's just not relevant. It's not relevant, but on a deeper layer, everything's perfect. Everything's meant to be like that, so it is relevant. There is this conundrum of being human, right? But then we come in, then our spirit comes in, and then it becomes this more deeper alignment of the information that we're absorbing that starts to become extremely beneficial. And even though those years which we feel weren't beneficial, all added to this moment, so they were. I want to kind of drill that home that it is. Everything is so beneficial. But then there's a refinement process that appears to happen, that the information becomes more refined that we're pulling in. We start to organize and diffuse the unnecessary chaos which is happening in. And all of this comes into our focus of being bringing the wave in. So we're so pointed, so energized, we've precisioned our energy, and we're focused in, dialed in to the specific goods which are really going to start accelerating our journey forward. And this is where we're refining almost our obsession, our obsessive quality. And then it starts to become really healthy, because we obsessively start working in on what we're focused on. We're very selective about what we go into. We become more aligned with our spirit. What are we obsessing about now? What information is really worthwhile for us right now? We feel into it, we tune into it. And anything that isn't, we discard it. We just get it out the way. We just keep coming back to what's really benefiting my soul right now. And we can just take that away. We just talk about the power of meditation as well. We can talk about obsessively just going in and really being tuned in, dialed in to our meditation practice. Everything has such a powerful, beautiful, helpful quality to it. And this is one of them. We can become beautifully obsessed with moving forward. We become obsessed about becoming more loving. We can become obsessed and radical about being more peaceful, and it all be done with a playful, joyful energy behind it. In everything, it's always about the energy. It's always about the energy intention behind it. We can have that obsession, but if it's backed up with love and devotion along the way, then that, for me, my friends, is such a beautiful energy field to be in. So direct, so furiously aligned, ready to progress and move forward, but also being radically present with where you are right now and enjoying every step of the way. My friends, this was just coming in with a few quick words today just to say hey and talk about this beautiful quality that you're going through now. And no matter where you are in the spectrum of being obsessed or having that obsessiveness about you, just remember it is such a powerful tool the more and more you start to refine that quality. Sending you so much love, my friends, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.